Hey guys, so Brightwing is one of the most interesting healers in my opinion, purely because what they did with Brightwing was they gave her worse CC, worse healing, and just less utility overall, but then gave her a global. So she has like a little bit of everything and has global pressure, but in terms of like general healing, she's not going to heal as much as a Stukov. In terms of general CC, she's not going to have as much CC as a Malfurion. Um, so it's kind of interesting how she works, but I do want to share a little bit. So the meta build that I'm going to give for Brightwing, there are a couple that are being used, but this one works in every situation. So this is the one that I'm going to be sharing. Followed by the common maps. You see, maps that people need to be in multiple places at once are where Brightwing thrives the most. For example, Dragonshire, you're going to have fights going on top at bot at the same time. It's easy for Brightwing to assist in one fight, jump to another one very quickly to help win two different fights at the same time. Sky Temple, there's oftentimes two objectives going at the same time. Towers of Doom, there's oftentimes two objectives going on at the same time. Cursed Hollow is the only one that's kind of interesting, as it might just be something where Brightwing covers some soak for a little bit before an objective. As the objective stalled out, when people get a little low, Brightwing jumps to the team and then heals them back up and then goes back to soak lanes. Overall, what I would recommend practicing with Brightwing is purely just one single thing, and that's her Q. The Q has a little bit of a delay before it flies out, and if it lands in the middle, it does a few things. So I would recommend toggling cooldowns and practicing using the Q in directions where enemies are going until you get to the point where you're really good at landing this always on the middle. Now, there is kind of a ping issue with this as well, and what I mean by a ping issue is that when you're on try mode, you have a ping of 0, meaning there's no delay between the time that you cast your abilities and it actually fires off. So you will want to definitely practice this a lot in versus AI or in real games where you're actually on servers. But everything's tied into your Q. Nearly every build that you go will have benefits for landing your Q on different things. However, just generally landing your Q is going to make it to where you proc an extra heal. So you're going to be healing about 2 to 3 times as much if you're actually landing your Qs often and doing what you need to be doing. I mean, I guess technically it's not going to be double the amount of healing, but your Q cooldown can be lowered by picking different talents, and the more you land it, the more you're going to be healing. So at least 50% more healing if you're consistently landing your Qs. Which means that could be the difference between you being like a really bad healer or keeping up with some of the best healers, as well as still having the global pressure. The next thing that I'd recommend practicing is understanding that while you can Z in and heal someone that's really low health, it's actually much better to heal someone or to jump into a fight before the fight begins, because if you jump in on someone who's low health, you're likely going to be jumping right in the middle of a fight, and that's not where you want to be as a Brightwing. So there's a few things that you can do about this, which is one particular thing that you can practice where you jump in and you immediately press your R to someone else. For example, say you're off in another lane over here and you're fighting and you pick the build and you get blink heal, right? What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start jumping in here and have a target you're going to be blink healing and immediately leave and then teleport over to your ally that's in a safer position. So only jumping in when you know you have a way to get away from the person you're jumping into. Those are the things that I would recommend practicing: landing your Qs, followed by making sure that you have a jump target to jump away. You can also jump to minions too. So don't be afraid to Z into a target and then jump over to a minion when you get a chance, just to get out of the fight so you don't immediately die when you jump in. Those are the major pieces that kind of make Brightwing who she is. The other thing is, just because you can be away from your team doesn't mean you should always be away from your team. I see this happen a lot on Alterac Paths, for example, where Brightwings will stay away from their team and try to soak as much as possible, and they lose the objective before the Brightwing can even jump to their team. Sometimes it's best to just keep near your team, heal them up consistently, and then not use your global for the actual global aspect. For just using it for the heal is sometimes all you need. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to check out my other videos.